Cool.
Hey.
Yeah. Look at this. No problems whatsoever. Wow. What are technical difficulties? They don't exist. They're not a thing. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Death Battle cast. I'm Ben. I'm joined by Chad, joined by Liam, and Black Screen.
Get this thing out of here! It's me, Puppet Bill Cipher! Hi! I'm here. I win. That's how this works, right?
Was this all your fault, Bill? Were you trying to like destabilize the stream?
Yeah.
Yes, if it means Liam loses. No, also if it means Liam loses.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay. Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to the Death Battle cast. As you can tell, we are going to be debating with Bill Cipher versus his classic opponent, the one everybody has always questioned, like, could Bill defeat the one and only imp from the fifth dimension, Mr.
Mxyzptlk.
Mxyzptlk. That
See,
one.
That's the problem right there. Branding. Bill. 4 letters. That's all you need. That's it.
You know what? I can't argue with that. Like, that's pretty accurate. I who knows how the hell to pronounce it? How do you pronounce it, Liam? Cool.
I say Mxyzptlk or Mxyzptlk. This is what I say, or Mxyzptlk. Either is, I think, correct.
I think the animated series is one of the more prominent ones that gets used, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So whenever this character comes up, I hear Gilbert Godfrey's voice go, "Mix, spit, lick." You know, I hear that every single time.
Have you heard that video clip of Gilbert Godfrey talking in his normal voice?
Oh yes, it's terrifying.
So that's not, the Gilbert Godfrey voice is not what he sounds like.
Oh, I think I heard that.
They played it at like a talk show or something, and it's just like it was like, "Hey Conan, so
Howard
yeah,
Stern show.
I'll be on your show." Howard Stern, yeah, it was like, "Hey Howard, yeah, I'll be on the show in about an hour. Just want to if I wanted me to bring anything or something like that." The whole thing is fake. It's a made up voice. It's crazy.
It's great branding. Again,
Yeah.
important.
So the voice of Mx has great branding and great identifiable voice, but the character, who knows? All right, so if you are new to Death Battle Cast, here's how this is going to work. These two are going to be arguing who should win in a fight, and by the end of the show, it will come down to you, the viewer, to vote on who you think wins based on their arguments. Liam, as I said, will be representing Mr. Mxyzptlk. I guess Bill's representing Bill.
Of course.
Sure. I suppose that's fair. And by all means, they can use whatever they want to try to win the argument. So in addition, did want to give a quick shout out to two things. One, it's been like over a week at this point, but the Kickstarter has completely wrapped up. So if you haven't, I believe there might be some people out there who still haven't checked their emails and looked at the surveys yet, but there is a survey out right now for the rematch vote. So make sure you check that out, as well as, sending in any sort of information you need for any sort of rewards that you might have gotten from the Kickstarter or might be expecting from the Kickstarter, like shirts and things like that.
It's super important. It's the backer survey. Make sure you go do that so that we can get the info and get you your stuff that you want.
Yes. So it will be, the email and the survey will have been sent to whatever email you used to sign up for Kickstarter in the first place. So just go ahead and check that. If you haven't seen it yet, you should see it. In addition, we have because you guys saved Death Battle, we have our premiere coming up. Sooner than later. We are going to be premiering the first episode of Independent Death Battle in early October. So October 6th is the expected release date for our very first episode. But we also have a theatrical premiere that we are going to be showing it off in Dallas, Texas. And that is going to be happening on October 3rd. And a lot of you guys already have signed up for it, whether through the VIP reward tier in the Kickstarter or through the open tickets that are available right now for general admission. So you can go ahead and check that out. There's still some available, though they have been going much faster than I honestly expected. I don't know why I keep expecting people to not be interested in Death Battle. Clearly you guys like this show.
People love Death Battle.
Yeah, so the general admission tickets are available right now. So if you want to come to the theatrical premiere of the first episode of Independent Death Battle, go ahead and get those, scoop them up. All right. With that being said, let's get into this. Let's start. I think we'll start with Liam and Mr. Mxyzptlk. Liam,
Yeah.
60 seconds on the clock. Why
Yeah,
does
sure.
Mr. Mixie win this?
Mxyzptlk is just one of the most powerful beings in all of DC Comics. He resides in the fifth. It comes from the fifth dimension, which is imagination. It is not. We'll get more into what it means cosmologically, but it is essentially the lifeblood of all of DC's creation. He is one of the two most powerful imps from the fifth dimension. The other one being Batmite, of course. And Mixie has done it all. He's done everything. He has killed everyone in existence. He has escaped reality or escaped fiction into reality. He can unmake all of DC Comics if he wants to. He's one of the most powerful characters in DC Comics that people have even remotely heard of. I think he's going to rip Bill apart. He's just better. He's just a better Bill.
All right.
I actually didn't. I didn't see the timer, so I didn't. I don't know how well that.
Yeah,
Dude, that's 'cause it wasn't there.
That
You-
sounded about right.
Yeah, you have about 18 seconds left. I was counting for you.
Nice. Thank you. Okay.
Gelatin Man
I'll
with the
cede
super
my
chat does
time.
say, I got my Book of Bill to 8 in the clear win for old Billy. So I don't know. Sounds like there's some support in the chat right now.
Then
Yeah,
why is his name
yeah,
pronounced
Cipher.
loser? That's how it's pronounced, loser.
All right,
I'm
well,
falling down.
Mr. Cipher, would you like to take 60 seconds to talk about how he's a loser?
Right. I've got a big plastic eye, so just tell me when it runs out. Bill Cipher, hey, he's over 1 trillion years old, conquered the nightmare realm, which he fell into after destroying his second dimensional universe as a little show for his folks there. What kind of powers does he have? Pretty much everything. He's got cipher voyance, the kaleidoscopic quantum vision of probability. He's got mind reading, time manipulation, soul manipulation, electrokinesis. He can control gravity, control sound. He's acausal. Hey, he's geometric perfection. He looks amazing in formal wear. Also, hey, he made a chemical element that stops all interdimensional authorities from getting near him and they explode. It's called Nopigium, and he built a clubhouse out of it. So you tell me what kind of things Mxyzptlk can do that I can't. Or I guess Bill can't. I'm Puppet Bill. Slightly different.
I have to say, Mr. Mxyzptlk, while he does wear formal wear as well sometimes, it looks awful. His color choice is just clashes like hell. It's real bad. So I got to give that
I
point
love
to
the
Bill.
And Bill Adam Zielk wants to know if you're here to promote your new book.
Oh, cool. Yes, assistant, get that up here.
Oh, there it is.
There it is. Perfect.
Yeah, and the Lord Krabby, thanks for the super chat saying that Mxyzptlk will win because Bill talks too much. I don't know. I feel like both of them talk a lot.
Incessantly.
Okay, so Liam, I saw some people mentioning in the chat, one of the most powerful characters in DC Comics, a phrase that's never been uttered before.
Yeah, of course.
Because it has been uttered a lot. So what does it mean in terms of Mr. Mxyzptlk when you say he's one of the most powerful?
And we've lost Liam's microphone.
Bill,
All right.
what have you done?
Again.
What did you do?
Yay!
Yeah. Okay. So Cypher's clearly hijacking the cast to try to break Liam's arguments.
He's trying.
Oh,
So it was really fun. Poor Liam's been having some audio issues, and we've just been watching his camera while he tries to figure out. It's quite entertaining.
if you like watching a frustrated person over and over, then yes. Yeah. So, okay. If Mr. Mxyzptlk is one of the fifth dimensional imps, right? Capable of powers beyond the dimensions beneath him. But Bill is from another dimension too, right?
Of course. Oh, he started in the second dimension. I believe it's called Euclidia. And he was born with a mutation that lets him see in the third dimension, which made him kind of an outcast there. So he decided, hey, this second dimension is very boring. I can see it's bland and flat and meaningless. Let me show everybody what all I can see. Let them experience it. And it just killed everybody, killed everything down to the last speck. And then, he was like, that's dramatic. I'm going to go over here now. That's how he ended up in the nightmare realm, haunted by the ghost and the screaming of, all the people he killed, his family. But, it's great because that helped him to understand reality is an illusion. Everything is madness. I'll help everyone escape their delusions. And hey, we'll just go forth and restart and rebuild everything anew, which is pretty much what I said for Xehanort. So this is the same argument all over again. Here we go.
Oh, what you said for Xehanort. Bill was arguing for Xehanort.
What my assistant said for Xehanort. This is hard, Ben. Do you know how difficult it is to puppeteer by camera?
Oh no, Bill.
Look, and then there's some of his powers right there. He just summoned a hand to correct him. Liam,
all right. So, Liam, we've been hearing a lot about Bill's powers, but like I asked before, what does it mean when you say Mxyz is one of the most powerful beings in the DC universe? How is that any different from like Superman?
Yeah. Sam, could you bring up images 11 and 12? And that is a non-rhetorical question because everything technologically is frustrating me today. So if that's a problem, I'll just describe to you what happens. It takes place in a story called World's Funniest. And in World's Funniest, in a game, essentially, Mxyz and Batmite decide to kill everything in existence. So they're killing all of the superheroes, the Justice League, everybody. And Mxyz picks up, the Spectre intervenes. And Spectre is God's right-hand man. He is the spirit of vengeance. He has domain over all of creation. Mxyz picks up Earth and smashes it above his head, and the Spectre dies, and as he's dying, he says, "Sorry, boss." He essentially apologized to God for being unable to do anything
Now,
about
to be fair, the Spectre is like the biggest jobber in the world, so that's...
He is the biggest jobber. That is true. But Mxyz then went and killed Darkseid later on in that story as well. Also kills Superman. I know that's not as impressive as killing the Spectre or Darkseid, but there's a point where Superman shows up and he's like, Mxyz, this has gone too far. Your pranks it's gone too far. Mxyz doesn't even turn around. He just snaps his fingers and like Superman disintegrates.
Just to show he could at any time he wanted, really.
Exactly. Mxyz exists. He's from the fifth dimension, and fifth dimension is imagination, and imagination is the blood of everything it's the cause of everything in DC Comics. Some of you have maybe heard of the Source. So DC Comics creation, like the entire multiverse, is surrounded by a field of energy known as the Source, that is blocked off by the Source wall, and it is the energy of God, essentially. Imagination actually supersedes the Source. There is a story in Animal Man, written by Grant Morrison, who is the same guy that came up with the cosmology map. And Grant Morrison, in Animal Man recreates the Source using imagination. So Mxyz is debatably above even the Source itself. It's a little ambiguous because how does like the sixth dimension fit in? But DC's cosmology has changed over time, but essentially the fifth dimension supersedes all of creation and then is only superseded by the sixth dimension, which is where everything is made. And Mxyz himself has actually destroyed the fifth dimension. He went there one time. It was in World's Funniest. He goes there and gets annoyed by people making fun of him for jobbing to Superman. So he just pops back. He says, I destroyed it. I killed everybody there. Mxyz can destroy even like the fifth dimension itself. He's really, really powerful. He's like stronger than I thought when I started researching, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, I think this...
Oh, a couple questions on if it was actually Darkseid or an Avatar.
It was... Well, it's hard to say, but it was... No, he goes to Apocalypse. It was actually Darkseid. He actually goes to Apocalypse, and yes, it was actually him. And Mxyz, there is no non-canon version of Mxyz. Mxyz exists simultaneously in every universe at the same time.
Hey,
he kind of
that
like...
sounds familiar.
Yeah, he's like higher dimensional, so he literally like... It's all fictional to him. Every DC character that he interacts with is basically a drawing. Like there's a point where he's like picking them up and they're comic panels to him. And he's like, I'm fucking real. You're not real. he can travel through the time stream as obviously he sees the past, present, and future of the entire multiverse simultaneously. He can even perceive all of hypertime. And what hypertime is like, it was a way of kind of bringing like continuity, like bringing the multiverse back after the Crisis on Infinite Earths, which took the multiverse and was like, this is too complicated, and they switched it back into one universe. But then comic book writers were like, I still want to do stories where like non-canon shit happens. So they created hypertime, which is like a cajillion different timelines. Hypertime is also like the time stream for like the gods, like Darkseid and Highfather and Zeus and everybody like that. And it's explicitly described not as a timeline, but as a time cube. It has 3 dimensions of time.
Time cube, my favorite.
Yeah.
Wait, I hate cubes. They're pretentious.
Bill is only a triangle, and Mxy is
I am
even a
geometric
cube.
perfection.
So yeah, I think that's a pretty good argument right there. But yeah, I could go on and on about how.
Yeah, I don't recall
Mix's
whatever possessing Grant Morrison or anybody else to get on Reddit and start answering Ask Me Anything questions. Liam, which is canon. That was debatable at one point, but it's definitely canon, much like the Book of Bill right behind me. This little masterpiece was written by Bill himself in therapy, as part of therapy, arts and crafts, and distributed through the dimensions to, maybe try and convince some people to let me out. I don't want to be here anymore. Get me up here.
Also, I want to bring up Lily Mandrigan in chat brought up that with the super chat that Mxy was once defeated by a tape recorder when Superman, I believe, recorded his voice and then played it backwards. So what's the deal with Mxy's and like his name?
I actually am curious on that, Liam. That's because the way I've always understood it from an older story is that's just an arbitrary rule that he's accepting.
Is it a rule that he created, that Mxyzptlk created himself, or is it like a rule that Bill could actually use against him, saying his name backwards to banish him or whatever?
What it is, as I understand it, is in the pre-crisis continuity, Mxyzptlk, it was an actual limitation that he had. Whereas now in modern continuity, it's changed over time. Mxy loves games. He loves contests. So he is not like magically forced to go back to the 5th dimension when he says his name backwards. He chooses to, because he acknowledges that he's lost. He has kind of a sense of honor, in that he loves the sport of it. But he doesn't have to. He does this with Superman because Superman is not capable of hurting him. He does it because he likes Superman and likes to challenge him. Yeah. Against somebody like Bill, when Mxy has encountered other reality warping characters, he doesn't limit himself like that. When Emperor Joker stole 99 or was tricked Mxy into giving him 99% of his power, Mxy was not like playing around. He was like, we need to kill this guy.
And I'd like to thank you for bringing up Emperor Joker because don't recall that happening over here. Just for an example, didn't have my powers completely given away, stolen by
You were just killed by Grunkle Stan, bro.
Oh please. By nothing. Hey, look, so here's the thing. Killed, quote unquote, because that death not quite as stable as it used to be. So yes, Bill was tricked into Stan's mind and taken out there by happenstance, because one little thing is a little bit of rage can help make you a little blind to the things going on here and there. But what happened? So his soul was shattered, and he was able to bring it back together enough to get himself in front of his equal, his opposite, the almighty Axolotl, and it was like, hey, it'd be boring for me to die. Why don't I just come back? And he was like, yeah, you're kind of a dick though. So he made me go to therapy, and I'm working it out. So that's where Bill ended up. He's not dead. He's actually just kind of stuck in the theraprism with no friends and nothing to do for thousands of years, except for, hey, again, arts and crafts, Book of Bill. I think it's worth remembering or noting here that yes, this is something that has made its way into the Pines family's hands. So I guess they kind of know, maybe not so permanent after all. And then it's kind of got notations for people who find it. The Book of Bill is extra dimensional in that it's said to be unique to each person reading it. It gets into their mind. It kind of feeds off that, and it's generating things to try and convince them to, let me out again.
Bill, I have a question, because I've heard a lot about this book and I haven't read it yet, but I've seen a lot of people say that in the book it puts you at like a whole new level. So what are we looking at here? What are some things that the book has
I mean, you're
added?
talking it's a wonderful assistant, multimedia extravaganza, very fantastic art and stuff. It just kind of kicks a lot of the things that were theorized and thought to be the case into being reality. It was wonderful right after the Bill versus Discord episode to find, we were pretty much on the right track. This guy's a little nuts, so
vindicated.
Yeah, it kind of locks down or confirms a lot of the I don't want to say assumptions, but the conclusions that we came to
fleshes them
about
out and
how Bill actually works, like in terms of power and whatnot. Okay, so Red with the super chat is also reconfirmed that, like, something that you mentioned, Bill, that all of Mixie's feats are in fiction, right? Whereas Bill has clearly
I was about to say.
broken through the fiction wall. Is there an example of Mixie breaking through that fourth wall?
There are several. 6. Sam, image 6, please.
Oh, I thought you were like, there's specifically 6 examples.
6 exactly.
Like, wow, that's thorough.
There are 2 that I wanted to talk about. The first one is image 6, and that is when Mxyzptlk went to the DC editorial offices and started threatening everybody, including the guy writing the comic book, and made him give him the script to the issue that he was in so that he could read it. And this isn't like a fictionalized version of the DC editorial office. These characters aren't drawn. It's pictures of the DC staff. They're like going like, oh, and stuff like that.
So a multimedia representation, which still makes it fictional, Liam.
Yeah, whatever. Fucking Reddit. There's actually another one that I wanted to bring up. You said well, we'll get to it. So there's that one from image 6, Sam, please. Then there was another time when when Mxyz wanted to recreate Death of Superman, but he wanted to be the one that died. So he created a Bada Bing Bada Boomsday, who is a 5th dimensional version of Doomsday. He's made of magic, and he was fighting Superman. And one of the scientists in the comic is theorizing that, like, you can't actually kill this version of Doomsday because Mxyz has affected the plot to make it identical to Death of Superman, so it wouldn't be resolved until he killed Superman. So what happened was Mxyz got Bada Bing Bada Boomsday to kill Mxyz, and Mxyz was not like erased from existence or anything. When Mxyz dies, he just goes back to the DC editorial office. You can see his soul like spinning through space, and it just pops back into the DC editorial office. He's like naked, and he's like, okay, and then he just comes back to reality. So when Mxyz killed, he just goes to reality and then comes back. And then the last page of that comic, and that's 7, 8, 9, 10 images, Sam, if you're able to. Is him recreating the death pose from Death of Superman. Superman's like, don't take this the wrong way, but like, why the fuck aren't you dead? And he's like, I can't tell you. You don't want to know. There's also, in terms of affecting reality, possessing your creator is very impressive, but Mxyz did something even more impressive. In one of the more recent-ish Justice League runs, Mxyzptlk, this is the one with the World Forger. Yeah, the World Forger. Mxyz starts unmaking reality, and the way that he does it is that, like, the world itself starts to become like sketches. It's like he's like erasing it, including the pencil that's drawing it. And that is image image 1, because I thought it was important. Mxyz is destroying even the pencil that is drawing his own comic. So he's even affecting and destroying the reality dimension that he can
the
travel
pages
to.
are within.
Oh, there it
Yes,
is.
yes.
I was like,
That the pages are within. Yeah. Oh, it's showing up on. Oh, it's on YouTube. Sorry, I was looking at the. I was looking at another screen where it wasn't showing up, so I was like, "Where's the image?" Yeah. So Mixie can destroy reality.
Yeah, I think this does come down a bit to cosmology, which my idiot assistant is not exactly super well versed in those like yourself, Liam. But I think, as my understanding of it, kind of like it's considered bare minimum cosmology for Gravity Falls. Like concepts would be around sixth dimensional because of things from the book. Sam, if you got the universal hologram image, you can put that up at some point here. Basically, it's stated within the book that the entire universe is contained within a trading card that is owned by a young man named Kevin, I believe, who occasionally takes it out to show it to his brother Dennis for possible trading for string cheese. Basically, the entirety of existence is within this trading card. And
A
God help-
Pokemon trading card? What?
God help all
Yeah.
of you if he loses it or gets shredded or something like that. But so we're at least sixth dimensional here for Gravity Falls level, and it could theoretically be scaled up from there. It gets kind of wonky, is my understanding, and kind of hard to understand from there. But I don't know jack about that.
Well,
Anyway, so-
okay, but before we get too far into this multi-dimensional nonsense and really dive into the exact limits of power that these guys have, if there are limits at all, I do think now's a good time to talk about our sponsor for today's episode, something that I think everybody watching might be interested in, though I don't know if Bill and Mixie would specifically need it because they don't have hair, which is Manscaped. Well, I guess Mixie sometimes has hair, but
Yes,
sometimes he
hair
doesn't.
prongs.
He can
I
just
got beautiful
choose whatever.
eyelashes.
also, you're making some assumptions there, Ben.
Oh, I guess so. That's true. That's fair. All right, let's talk about Manscaped, the sponsor of this week's Death Battle Cast. Let's celebrate the perfect summer trimming companion that will keep you looking cool even when it's sizzling outside in the summer. Manscaped has you covered with the Lawn Mower 5.0 Ultra in the new colorway White Hot, and a sea of options to choose from to perfect your grooming routine. Manscaped shines, and they're riding the white hot waves with their special edition trimmer in white, which is honestly really cool color for this. There are limited qualities available of this special color, so you should act fast. Go check it out. The Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra, that is what it is named, has been updated across the board. There's new updated blades, including a special foil blade, which will leave you feeling bare and sleek. And switching between the two blades is a breeze. It's like having two different trimmers in one without breaking the bank. And I've actually had an electric razor from Manscaped that's lasted many years at this point, so I can confirm their stuff works great and it lasts. And it's very useful for the more sensitive bits that maybe, Mixie's got a lot of going on down there. Who
Yeah.
knows? So join the 10 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped for all their grooming needs and get the special edition Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra in white hot while supplies last. I mean, it's just a cool name. So get 20% off plus free shipping with the code DBC at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code DBC at manscaped.com. Thank you, Manscaped, for sponsoring this episode.
Our first
Now-
sponsors of Independent Death Battle has been Manscaped. So shout out to
Thank
them.
you,
And they sent me a
Thank
beer,
you.
which they didn't have to do. So they're go trust them with your bits.
At least check them out. There's a link below
Escape
that you can
Man.
that you can find them at. All right, so let's talk about.
I neglected
these
to mention, by the
specific
way, Time Baby and Bill fighting caused the trading card to shake, I believe. Their clash caused the trading card to shake in the reality that it's in. So
Yes,
Okay, that's
JC with a
interesting.
super chat mentions Bill's been able to canonically affect the real world by fighting a time baby and shook a kid's backpack who exists above the multiverse. What does that mean? I don't know what that's referring to.
Time Baby and Bill
Nice.
fought much earlier in the Nightmare Realm in their history. That fight destroyed, I believe, 6 planets, caused enough radiation for SETI to still pick it up. And when Time Baby was knocked out of the Nightmare Realm, he crashed into the Earth, which killed all the dinosaurs and stranded all the Time Force that was there in the present with him until he thawed out. So, yeah.
All right. Lord Krabby was willing to make a deal with you, by the way, Bill. So you might want to hit him up later.
All right, I'll catch you after the show.
Yeah, Getjinx says it's been
Sucker.
insinuated that Mxyzptlk may actually be the Impossible Man.
No, they're different. They've crossed over though. That's another good feat for Mixie is that he can actually escape DC Comics and go to Marvel, like of his own power. Which you have to be like really so the idea is that like when you escape the source wall, there's that like that white void, the overvoid, which is essentially just like the idea is that it's like the empty space between different like continuities, different like franchises. So Marvel is out there somewhere, ostensibly.
Is the
This is
bleed
when-
what
this
fills
is
that
like-
space, Liam, or is that something?
No, the bleed is within DC Comics, within the DC like
Okay.
that multiverse map that you see. The bleed is within is kept within there. It's theorized, it's possible that the bleed is also imagination. But there's also plenty of arguments that Bill would or that Mixie would transcend that. Where was I going with that? Yeah, Lucifer Morningstar is another character that his story was escaping DC Comics and going and fucking off somewhere into the overvoid. So he can do that. What was I gonna talk about?
Sure.
Then Norino
It's just a
in
lot
chat
for me to,
does
like-
mention Bill can escape
Yeah.
his multiverse too, like when he went to The Simpsons. He did appear there. So
That's
there's a
true,
lot of
yeah.
Jesus.
universe hopping going on here.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Well, I'm just looking at the images that I have here.
I believe Alex said that the Simpsons cameo is canon. So hey,
It sounds like everything with Bill is
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
officially
right?
canon, right?
Yeah.
well, unless it's
basically
a book
canon.
that Disney put out by themselves, I guess. Yeah.
So
Oh
So,
yeah,
like-
cosmology. That's what we're going to talk about. I hate to like rely on this stuff or talk about it because it's like nonsense. You know, it sounds like meaningless
Yeah.
shit.
Mhm.
But it is worth mentioning this. Just like a big part of this argument. Both Mixie and Bill can do anything they want. They're reality warpers. Blah blah blah. You know what that
Mhm.
means. I think a big argument in Mixie's favor is that like Bill transcending Gravity Falls is not as impressive as Mixie transcending DC Comics. I know it's boring and lame, but like six dimensions for fucking Gravity Falls is impressive.
Oh, we're just taking Liam's
clarify-
word for this now. Oh, great. Yeah,
To
wonderful.
clarify, the fifth dimension, when they talk about the fifth dimension where Mxyzptlk is from, like I've said, is not like 5 spatial dimensions. It's imagination. There are an infinite number of spatial and temporal dimensions that are before you even get to like the sphere of the gods or the source wall or the speed force wall. He's like infinite dimensional. He's like beyond infinite dimensional. In DC because they just have a lot of statements that suggest that like smaller portions of DC's cosmology are infinitely dimensional. So just being 6-dimensional is not enough to stack up to like
To
Mixie. It's
be
like-
worth, I'm saying 6-dimensional at a minimum. Like there's a bunch of arguments for
sure
it being
sure
much higher, but
yeah
that stuff
but
gets kind of weird.
yeah you
But
know,
infinity.
yeah we're going maybe higher than 6 versus definitely infinite. Like yeah, there's a difference there. So there's an argument to be made that like Bill transcending the fiction of the world that he's in is actually less impressive than Mixie doing it because Mixie sees DC characters as fictional compared to himself, and then he also transcends his own fiction into reality. It becomes like this really recursive, dumb argument, but I do think that like at the end of the day, like there's no arguing about this where Mixie isn't just more powerful. If we were writing this as a death battle episode, we would brush this aside quickly and then focus on something like intelligence. Because I think Mixie is more intelligent as well. And I think that if it comes down to tricking each other, Mixie would trick Bill first.
I mean,
Because
intelligence
Mixie,
because
like-
go ahead, Liam.
Yeah.
please.
No, because like they've both been fooled and stuff, but
Mhm.
Bill has been fooled by Dipper and Mabel and Grunkle Stan. Mixie has been fooled by Superman, right? Like it's a different level.
But
and
I mean, if you
Bill-
want to get into it, Bill was tricked by them
Yeah.
because he doesn't consider them even worth considering. Like he's got the Cipher voyance, right? He sees
Yeah.
a kaleidoscopic quantum vision of probability. He is always seeing kind of like the multitude of options that could possibly be coming his way. He just doesn't think so little of these people that it just happens. It's like
yeah, when when we were doing Bill versus Discord, a topic that we discussed quite a bit was how seriously would Bill take Discord and vice versa. And I do feel like that's going to apply here to a certain degree. Um, as soon as Mixie appears, I think Bill is going to have a understanding of the level of power. Maybe not exactly, but have some understanding that he's
Yeah.
dealing with somebody who's different from the
And
kids.
it
Like
comes back to
that-
Time Baby every single time, because the second time he fought Time Baby, it was instantly, "Bzz, you're dead."
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I don't know if we can necessarily apply like or say that he's dumber than Mixie just because he got tricked by not Superman people. But the question then I think becomes, would he treat this differently than what we've seen him treat threats like before? And how would that necessarily change the interaction? Because I do think trickery would play a really big role here. So who's going to trick the other 1st?
And experience is going to be a big part of that. And I think this is someplace Mixie probably has a fair amount of advantage, because he's able to freely jump around in a way that Bill
At least so
had
nice.
some distance. I'm being
He's like,
realistic about it.
Well,
Well, wait, assistant, shut up! Don't you be giving him.
But if Mxyzptlk likes games and rules, is that going to alter his perception of how he handles
Is he
Bill?
more likely
And
to
I mean,
mess
Bill's all
around?
about making deals, so he'd totally be like, he's pretty good and convincing, right? Be like, let's play a game, right? You know, like, and like, I could see it.
We covered this
you
a bit
you,
in
you
the-
talked about how Mixie doesn't apply that to like things like Emperor Joker. So that's, unless Bill just comes right out the gate like pure evil, blowing up worlds or whatever, is he necessarily going to treat Bill the same way he did Joker?
Mxyzptlk also has that ability to see everything all at once, and instead of being limited to the timeline, or like a variety of splitting timelines, like Bill, remember Mxyzptlk is capable of perceiving and transcending hypertime, which is like, it's a dimensional argument for omniscience as well, because it is 2 extra dimensions of time. Mxyzptlk would be able to tell that, okay, there's 2 options. Either Bill is not powerful enough to harm Mxyzptlk, so Mixie doesn't really take him seriously and kills him when he wants to, or Bill is, and Mixie understands that and takes him seriously from the start, and then does something like, if he ever feels threatened, he can just read the script. He can force, if I'm writing this as a Death Battle episode, he would appear to me and tell me to fucking make him win.
I mean, there's elements. There's
Mixie-
elements where Bill would be able to do similar things ish too, to some degree. I think it's a bit different
I
from
would
Discord.
refuse.
I think there's some. Yeah, well, that's one of the things I kind of wanted to go on about a little bit here. Like, he needs to make a deal to be able to actually enter your mind freely and to kind of take over your body. That's like one of his few limitations. Like, he needs to actually make a deal with you. He doesn't have to actually honor the specific wording of the deal. He can manipulate that to be whatever he wants. But that is something he can't just do automatically. I kind of think, unlike Discord, there's a stronger chance Mixie could be talked into some kind of deal, though. He has a little bit of a history of doing exactly that. So,
but it was against the Joker. It was against the Joker, who is like a dude, you know? Like, he just genuinely did not think that was.
So you're saying that he could
possibility.
easily misunderstand somebody and be taken advantage of, huh?
The Joker also
Convenient.
has a unique advantage where he is a human that is capable of perceiving the fourth wall, whereas as Bill is a more traditional, like, he is a god that is capable of perceiving the fourth wall. The Joker was able to get an advantage over him because he is much more smarter and perceptive than Mixie had anticipated. Whereas with Bill,
Caught him by
he's a god,
surprise.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he caught him by surprise.
So Grump in the chat wants to know: does Mix have a soul? Or
That's
no?
an excellent question, because that's one of Bill's big advantages, right? He can destroy souls, and he can also kind of rework his own and survive having his
Thanks,
destroyed.
Kendrick.
So
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I
So
am
here's the thing.
tempted to say no. Well, yeah, Chad, you go.
Because there's probably some panel somewhere where you can be like, and he gave up his soul, or he doesn't actually have a soul because he exists beyond the concept of a soul. Yet when he dies, we see what could be argued as a soul spinning up into the thing to then reappear into
It's true.
reality.
But it doesn't go to heaven, does it? It goes to his version of heaven, which is
but that's
reality.
his heaven, right? Yeah. So it's
Yeah. So it's the idea of like if he has a soul, it's something that is not the same as any soul that Bill has encountered. Souls in DC go to like heaven, which is part of the sphere of the gods. And like
by
and
the
like
way,
he can destroy
commonly-
souls. Mixy can do the same thing. Like it's not.
He consumes them for fun. It's it's a habit.
Yeah. Having a soul is not like a weakness.
Trying to
It's just
kick
a
it.
different way of
So, okay.
Yeah, this
I feel like we're basically in a position where the argument just comes down to who can manipulate reality the better.
More better. Yeah.
More better. More hacks. So
me.
I'm
Vote for me.
I'm curious if there's anything other than their hacks that would matter here. Like if there is something that each one could do that would affect the battle, that would change that would change the battle in their favor, that isn't them just reality warping better than the other.
Well, we know that even if Bill was like able to get to the fifth dimension and somehow destroy it, that would not depower Mxyzptlk. Mxyzptlk also, this is what I want to talk about with intelligence. Mxyzptlk is also capable of tricking people as well. There's a story in right around the New 52 when they're reintroducing Mxyzptlk, where in the fifth dimension he was in a love rivalry with the Grand Vizier of the King of the fifth dimension, and he essentially manipulates things into getting the Grand Vizier jealous. They're both in a rivalry over the princess. They wanted to marry the princess. He gets the guy jealous enough that he tricks the Grand Vizier into killing the king, and Mixy is then made the king of the fifth dimension. So he manipulates events in order to get what he wants there. He is very, very smart. I think that he would be I think he would ultimately be capable of outsmarting Bill. I don't think he has the same limitations that Bill does. With like Bill has to like make a deal with you to get into your mind. Mixy can just hop into Bill's mind, just whatever. Just
I don't think it's gonna be a very pleasant place for him though.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, fucking whatever.
I mean, Bill also destroying the dimension Bill's in also will not do anything to him. The Nightmare Realm, him coming into the reality was Bill's power sustaining the rift. It wasn't the rift powering him.
Well, okay, Invenja has a good question. Who has the better survivability? Because so far we know Bill can survive soul damage, but can Mixy?
Mixy survived like being like sent to reality. Like when Mixy dies, he doesn't have like a soul in the same sense that we were talking about this earlier. Like Mixy's soul isn't some separate thing that is different from him. You could say that he just is a soul. If you consider a soul like as like your essential being, it's just Mixy. There isn't like a separate thing. And when he dies, he goes to reality. There's no like when Bill dies, he dies, or at the very least like goes to the axolotl and is then forced into therapy. When Mixy dies, he goes to reality, then just pops right back. There's no real way to kill him unless you like.
I mean, really, the only thing keeping Bill there is his refusal to, respond to therapy. He could leave pretty easily if he stopped being a real dick. Shut up! Shut up!
Well, Gelton Man has a question then. What will Mixy do once Bill turns his bones into hair and felt, or turning his hair into rotten meat?
I mean, enjoy it. I don't know. Like, fucking...
The squishing sound would be wonderful.
Yeah.
This comment's incredible. Thor G says, voting for Mix. If Bill is better at reality warping, then he can change it himself.
Ooh, okay, well, I think now is a good time to start the poll. Let me get that going. But before I set up the poll, why don't we get some last arguments from you guys, starting with Bill. Is there anything you haven't talked about yet you want to make sure is out there before the poll goes up?
No, I mean, I think people have kind of got down to it. It's down to who would be able to manipulate and trick the other one more than anything. I think they're we're relatively equal, and all things being equal, I win. That's just how it works. That's the math. I can back it up right here in the book, available at your local Barnes and Noble.
Hey, we're not getting commission for this. All right.
I mean, someplace it's available someplace.
All right, then, Liam. Anything you haven't said about Mxy that you want to make sure is out there?
No,
out
not
in
really.
The
I mean,
universe.
I think Mxy is just significantly more powerful. I don't think all things are equal. I think he's much stronger. I think he is more likely to trick Bill than Bill is to trick him. And I don't think Bill has any way of killing him. Yeah, I think he's just better. I think he's just a better Bill.
Okay.
Donkey Long says Liam made me wait at the beginning, so I'm voting Bill.
The poll
That's a great
is
reason.
now live on the YouTube chat. If you are a member, you can vote on that and let us know who you think should win between Bill Cipher and Mr. Mxyzptlk.
By the way, can we really quickly show that book of Bill Cord image that is in the repository? That's the book is corrupting, so just.
Oh.
Oh no. That's amazing.
I see Discord is enjoying it along with a book on witchcraft.
Yeah. We patch things up a little bit, roommates and all that. Whoa.
Wait, who's got the witchcraft book? Is it Bill or is it Discord?
You gotta have your research material around, right?
Thank you for the gift of memberships. We got a few coming in from Lily and Gelton. Okay, so go ahead and get your votes in. We will see who wins. Mr. Mxyzptlk had a pretty significant lead at first, but it's starting to change. So go ahead and get those votes in. We'll see who ends up.
Make sure he Mxyzptloses.
Oh, okay. Chad, what are you thinking?
Nice.
Which one do you vote for?
This is one of those ones I think would be a really fun death battle to do because I think it would be chaotic and insane and an absolute blast to watch. I do feel like, though, one of the strongest arguments here is just like the caliber of opponents that these people have fought against. And Time Baby is insane. But, I mean, when you're talking about Spectre and like all the, like, I just think Mr. Mxyzptlk has the experience advantage, and that would give him the win. So I'm voting for Mix.
You're dead to me, James.
I'm
You're
sorry.
Dead to me!
I'm sorry.
Is Time Baby the most powerful thing that Cypher's ever fought? I'm trying to remember.
I think it's more just that he's a very prominent thing that has immense control of time. So it's he's just a big.
And what's like the most
powerful
powerful
thing we've seen
that Cypher's fought, or the Cypher's killed or defeated or whatever? Would it be Time Baby? I guess my question is like,
that's the most obvious one I can think of off the top of my head.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm feeling a similar way, Chad. I definitely feel like the like Liam said, it's sort of a less exciting way to like approach things, but like the cosmology of the universe is it definitely puts Bill at a disadvantage because of Mixie's just experience with these broader dimensions and more possibly more powerful entities on a grander or at least more varied scale. So I'm kind of leaning towards Mixie as well. However, I do think this would be pretty interesting to do like a real deep dive into and find out exactly how, again, very similar to what we did with Bill versus Discord, to really figure out like where they do actually supersede each other in certain levels of reality warping and whatnot. Yeah,
so what I'm hearing is you're also dead to me, Singer.
Yep. Sorry. It's okay. Skeletober's coming up in a month, and it's fine to be dead then.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, get your votes in. Get your last votes in. I'm going to be ending the poll very soon. We have a lead. There's one character that seems to be taking it right now. Thank you to everybody who sent in super chats and gifted memberships throughout the show. We really appreciate you all. That is obviously after the Kickstarter going to be one of the big things that helps us stay independent moving forward is your support. All right, and I'm ending the poll in 3, 2, 1. We got Mr. Mxyzptlk at 63%.
Oh, you're all gonna get it. You're all gonna get it. You're all doomed. I tells you, doomed.
So
I think you're
for
more of a fun character, though, Bill. How about that?
All right. You're
For everybody who
slightly less
voted
doomed.
against Bill, including myself and Chad, I guess we might be in trouble. So keep an eye out for
Have some nice dreams tonight, folks.
watch out for triangles and for Illuminati symbols. Be careful. But otherwise, congratulations, Mr. Mxyzptlk and Liam. You won another one.
I blame you for this. This is your fault. This is your fault.
Fucking audio issue. I think I found out what it was.
Oh no, he's attacking Billy.
Well, okay. Poor Billy is the first victim here, and that's on you guys for voting against Bill. All right, thank you all for tuning in for another Death Battle cast. We do this live every Thursday at noon Central Time, and also it releases as a VOD on the channel later on in the day, in the evening, and of course later on anywhere you find podcasts. We really appreciate you all. We will see you all next week. Take care.
Reality's illusion. Use Manscaped. Bye.